Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So as promised, I was going to give you an overview of some of the things I bought and purchased over at the homeschool convention that we went to just recently in St. Charles, St. Louis, Missouri. And a lot of you guys were interested in some of the things that we're going to be supplementing our education here with. Before I get into all of that, there's a lot of insanity going on in the world right now, as you have seen on the news, and it just makes it more apparent about why we homeschool. There is just so much insanity going on in the world today. Again, why we homeschool. Years ago, I remember Rush Limbaugh. He said something about how the bar is being so, I'm just paraphrasing here, but he says the bar is being lowered so far in our education system today that if you as a parent raise the bar for your children, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be making it so much easier for your children to succeed in life. Okay, and that's one of the reasons, again, why we homeschool, of many reasons. I'm raising the bar for my children, thus making it easier for them to compete in a world that has the bar set so low, it's almost impossible for them not to succeed. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. Again, I've mentioned before in my videos that I do Liberty University for the online academy that they have here of the curriculum. They do all of that at home. But I still supplement with things. I have been supplementing, and I will continue to supplement with other things that I want them to be exposed to and for them to achieve in. And that's one of the reasons why I went to this homeschool conference. First one I've ever been to, had a fantastic time. I highly encourage you to find a homeschool conference in your area by whatever organization that's putting it on, and just go there and see what's out there. Expose yourself to some of the things that are available today for you to teach your children about. Okay, so first off, when you go, this homeschool convention was a very large one compared to some of the other ones that are out there. And when you go, they have a huge vendor area, and all the lectures were fantastic, but the vendor area was something to behold. And so when you walk in, they give you there's different vendors who give you sacks, with obviously their logo. This one I think was from Bob Jones University, and they offer you a sack, and you can just use that to put in some of the information that you're going to get from all these vendors, because they all have pamphlets, they all have information about their curriculum and their supplements that they can give you. And so you can take the stuff and then, their pamphlets, their brochures, and then read about it later. So it's just chock full with so many different curriculum ideas, and here's one from Sunlight, and I have some Bob Jones. This one here from Homeschool Plus. So many different things here. This was an Indian Sports Family Resort, a riverfront camp float trips. Family-friendly float trips. This was the one from the Organized 365 organization that I mentioned earlier, one of the other ones. This was a game. A board game that was being sold there. Pretty cool, all about history. And this was a one, I kind of like this one too, Plays with a Punch. And it's basically drama plays that you and your kids can get involved in, or with other children, other families. Really cool. It was actually, the playwright was there. Her name was Rachel Ferguson. Really cool. Just so many things. Trail Life, which was a Boy Scout alternative. Stuff like that. Anyway, so you're going to get lots of stuff to go through. I only got a small percentage of it. My bag was really small compared to some others, but that's starting off. You're going to get lots of information that you can look at later. First thing I'll go through was this one. Now, this seems kind of elementary, but it's still fun. This is kind of like a Go Fish game, and I like Go Fish is kind of a child's game, but this one teaches you a lot of great stuff, and this one's about medieval history, and it gives you hints about people throughout history, big names and events that you can play that card game, Go Fish, or there's other games you can play too, that give your children exposure to names in history and events in history, and it just makes them familiar with these things and gives them exposure to these names that they may later on learn more about, at their leisure. But pretty cool. This one here is medieval history. I have ancient history, world history. I got 3 different ones, and really great stuff. This was put out by History for Kids, Classical Historian. So you talk about history. People ask, what kind of history stuff do you teach your kids? Stuff like this. That just gives them exposure to names and events throughout time. So there you go. There was that one. It's called the Go Fish game. All right, moving on. I don't want to make this a huge, really long video. It probably will be. There was a vendor there who basically took out of copyright stories and novels and things like that, and basically reprints them with with nice covers and just gives them a nice look and feel. So all of these stories that they had were out of print, out of copyright. But then they reformat them. I mean, the text is still the same, but they just put them in nice covers, nice books. And so I picked up one book. I think the vendor was Lamplighter Collection, and so they had all kinds. I mean, really books. Things that were written 100 years ago or more. Really great stories that they thought were really fantastic, that kids would enjoy, that adults would enjoy, and that you would be able to enjoy them in your home. And yeah, you can find all of these works online for free because, again, they're out of copyright, but it's just they put them in a nice cover. And I like books that look nice. I have a number of old books in my home that I like. And so it was just one I like reading to my kids, so I picked this one up for that. So there's that from the Lamplighter Collection. And then this one here was another author who was there, and this was, it's called Hunger Winter, okay? And it's kind of like a continuation or side story to the whole Corrie ten Boom storyline. And this is basically endorsed by the Corrie ten Boom House Foundation, Hunger Winter. I thought it looked like a really nice book, interesting book, and so I picked a copy of that up. That was one of the vendors that was there. Now, I like old books, and so I have a number of these. Jamie collected these a while back, some of the Landmark books, and so I have about half a dozen of these already on my shelf. And there was one of the vendors there that just specialized and carried a lot of original works, original books, and that you could find and go through, and people were swarming all over this place. And I knew, I saw these in the first day, and I knew they were going to be gone. And as soon as I picked them up, and I grabbed them for myself because I saw them there, and there was a number of other ones too. But I knew people were like, "Where'd you get those?" Because these are kind of popular amongst people who like this sort of stuff. So this is the Landmark book series by Random House. And this one was Wild Bill Hickok, Tames the West, and the Swamp Fox of the Revolution. So I thought those would be great to add to the collection I already have on hand that my kids enjoy. There was one about Davy Crockett that my 10-year-old just loves, and he devoured that completely. I mean, he's already read the Wild Bill Hickok one that we bought. So there's that. I thought these looked really interesting. Again, I want to expose my kids to numerous things. I want just things, especially classical history and history around the world history. And so years ago when I was in the military, I got a chance when I was deployed to Macedonia. They gave us a 2-week leave to go to different places, and we got to go to Greece. I got to go to Greece with some other fellows, and I got to learn a lot about Greek history and Greek mythology. And I thought that was a good foundation for learning about a lot of other things that go on in the world. And so this one here was, I want to expose my kids to the same stuff too. Jason and the Argonauts, okay, Greek myths. And this is the Three Musketeers. And these are like comic book form, so these are things that my kids can easily devour. My kids have already read through these. It's like since I got them home, they were already into those. And then the Odyssey, also a Greek by Homer, put in comic book form. Now, some of you guys, I understand, we try to give our kids a firm biblical foundation of what is right and wrong. You might be surprised that I would buy the Odyssey or buy Greek mythology to expose that to my kids. Understand that a lot of the false gods and things, crazy stuff that's out there today, especially the Marvel comics and stuff like that, where that all originates from is really Greek mythology. It actually originates before that was Egyptian mythology, but there's not a lot of stuff written that survived from that time. We still have works by Homer and other things that did survive, and so really it goes back to the Greek mythology. And I want my kids to understand where these things come from, because when you see these things in the modern world, you recognize them. I can watch some of these hero things, these Marvel comic stuff and superhero stuff, and I can easily identify that as Greek mythology. And I think that's important for identification purposes, to expose your children to these things. Understand where they come from, these false gods, and how they do have a connection to the Bible. A lot of these things are mentioned in Scripture if you're a Bible reader, and so that's why I expose my children to these things, understanding I'm doing it as a parent and letting them know where these things come from. But I think it's important to give them that exposure. They need to know what's out there so that they can recognize these things in a modern day form. So there you go. Your mileage may vary. Also, I saw these books. These were put out by, it's called Paper Pie or something. Man, I can't remember the name of these things. But anyway, this was the Complete Dickens. Also, those books here came from the same vendor that were there. I think I got them at Paper Pie or something. I forgot. Remember the name of the vendor. But they also had the Complete Dickens, and this is more. It's not like, it's basically shorter stories of the stories that were produced by Dickens, but they have like lots of different pictures and other things to go with the stuff inside these stories. And I think that they're really good for reading to kids. Kids will like this stuff. So it's in a very easily consumable fashion and form. So I got the Complete Dickens. I have some works by Charles Dickens already, but I wanted to give it in this form too. The Complete Shakespeare. Of course, the greatest line that Shakespeare ever wrote down was, "Kill all the lawyers." That comes from Shakespeare. And so, again, it's just like that, too. It's got a lot of pictures and a lot of good stuff in there that kids can easily be exposed to some of the works by Shakespeare. I want my kids to be exposed to things like this. So I had the Complete Shakespeare. I got that. That was fun. And then we're doing pretty good on time. Not doing too bad. The last thing I'll talk about was this one, talkbox.mom. And when I was in the military, again, I was actually based in Baumholder, Germany, for most of my enlistment. And when I was there, it's actually really close to France, the border of France. I actually learned more French when I was there than I did German. But I really enjoyed being immersed in a culture where I could learn another language, or at least be exposed to it. That's the thing I want to do with my children. I'm not expecting them to completely learn a new language and be fluent in it, although that would be great. But I want them to be exposed to other languages. And so French is the one I have chosen. And so I've got the French box from talkbox.mom. And so far it's working fantastic. We are memorizing all kinds of French. They put it in a format that's really easy to consume. They even have an app that works on your phone that you can coincide with the stuff that's in here. And I think by signing up, they give you like a free phrase book that came with it too. I don't know if that comes with the online purchase, but I know when you bought it there at the event, they gave you a free. It's like a $30 value phrase book. But it comes with, like, basically in this box 3 challenges, and those challenges walk you through a certain amount of steps that you're going to do for like a week and a half or so, and you're going to concentrate just on a small portion each time and get that master before you move on to the next challenge. And so we're about done with challenge 1, having started this already. And every day around lunchtime, I go through the app and we concentrate on that challenge, that first challenge. We spend a few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And then at night, after I'm done reading to them, I have right now we're going through the Great Brain series, and we're almost finished with that. And after I get done reading to them, I go through again another 3 to 5 minutes of talkbox.mom and mastering that challenge, that first challenge, and the phrases that we're going to be using. And we're using phrases that we use on a regular basis around here. So what parent hasn't heard from their child, "I'm really hungry"? Well, that's one of the phrases that we picked out of the phrases they gave us for that first challenge. And there's a lot of them that you can pick, phrases that you use on a regular basis or your children are using every day. And every day my son, my 10-year-old, coming in, is like, "I'm really hungry." Well, now he says it in French. "J'ai très faim, père," which means dad. "J'ai très faim." I'm really hungry. So he's ready for dinner. And qu'est-ce que tu veux manger? What do you want to eat? So... And then he tells me what he wants to eat, sometimes in French, sometimes in English. And so we're learning these phrases, and we're using these phrases that we're going to be using on a day-to-day basis. And folks, that is immersion. Okay, when you're using them constantly and regularly. And that's the way you really learn a language. I remember taking Spanish in high school, and I hated it. And so because you didn't really immerse yourself. You go in, you can do your checklist, and then you get your grade. but to immerse yourself in it and to use these things on a regular basis and to not make it so overbearing, 3 to 5 minutes a couple times a day, that's not overbearing. And plus you have the help of an app that has all the audio on there that you can just pull up these phrases. You have these blocks, you have printables, you have these things you post up in your kitchen that you can use and go through. If you're a homeschool, you put stuff up on your walls all the time to help with schooling. So all that's included in the box. So I'm really enjoying this thing here. I knew I was going to this conference looking for a way to better help my kids, be exposed to a foreign language. And there's a couple different options there, and I chose this one. And I'm so far I'm very happy with it, and I'm excited to get going and continue on with it. But that's again something that we got to do, or we picked up at the vendor. And the woman who started this company, she gave a couple of different talks too about homeschooling and things like that. Not just some of them about foreign language, but other about just homeschooling too. So all that to say, that's what I picked up. I had a fun time. First ever homeschool conference convention I went to, and I had a good time and got to meet some people and got to see some people I hadn't met in years because it's St. Louis area. I grew up in St. Louis. So that was fun as well. But I still have a video I want to do, again, talking about homeschool dads. So that'll be coming up. Stay tuned. There's just lots of other things going on right now. I got a lot of other videos planned. I'm trying to coordinate and get those up for you guys too. So, all right, guys, leave a comment below. Let me know if anything caught your eye on this, what comments you might have. And let me know down below in the comments things that you supplement with, things that you buy maybe outside of your curriculum, or things you add to your curriculum to help the learning, progress for your children. Something you mentioned might help me. It may help someone else who's looking through the comments section. So that's how we share information and we learn and grow together. All right, guys. Hey, check out our merchandise, teespring.com. Links in the description below. And as you guys notice, I don't put ads in the middle of my videos. That's so I don't like breaking the concentration of whatever I don't like it when people do that. That's why I have the ads at the end of my video. Genesis Gold Group. Check them out. All right, guys. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Alexander the Great. Did you know when he died, his body was placed in a coffin made of solid gold? Decades later, Ptolemy X and Cleopatra III stole the coffin and gold artifacts just so they could pay their war debts. Germany, at the time of World War II, stole all of the gold they could get their hands on, and much of it still today has not yet been accounted for. You see, all throughout history, when times get tough, people, either good or bad, seek real wealth. They turn to gold and silver. The central banks and Wall Street cheerleaders would have you believe that gold and silver are just shiny rocks with no real value. But did you know that central banks around the world have for the last year been buying record amounts of gold and silver for stockpiling? Stockpiling for what? What do they know that they're not telling us? Genesis Gold Group is a proud supporter of an American homestead. They help people get out of locked-in 401ks and IRAs into something that's real, physical gold and silver. If you're going to be locked into something, it might be a good idea to talk to Genesis Gold Group about being locked into something physically vaulted instead of just a piece of paper that at the end of the day is just that, a piece of paper. It's a clear surety that our economy is headed for turbulent waters. The nation is currently over $31 trillion in debt, and Congress keeps spending money and the Fed keeps printing it. That does not bode well for anyone keeping and saving money in savings accounts or paper-denominated assets. Call Genesis Gold Group today, this instant, or visit them online at genesisgoldgroup.com. They can put together a strategy that's right for you. And be sure to say that you heard about them from an American homestead. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait.